you must do the sex with me.
Yeah.
I bought it with flowers that my son found.
Yeah. Okay.
So he did. He slept with her that night. No, it's not, dude. It's pre.
Okay.
Good.
Yep.
All right, cool.
We're
Okay,
rolling.
hello, everyone.
Yow.
Today we're talking about Jacob's childrens. So in the last story, Jacob got married to both Leah and Rachel. Leah, it's spelled like Leah. I don't know why I keep saying Leah. I haven't watched Star Wars
in a
recently.
while, yeah.
Excuse me. But so the Lord saw that Leah wasn't loved, because remember, last story kept emphasizing how much Jacob loves Rachel more than Leah specifically. So Lord sees this and enables her to conceive as a result. He's, she's kind of gotten the shittier end of this bargain. Let's give her a baby.
Yeah, that's always the cure.
It's the cure. Makes her happy. So she gets pregnant and gives birth to a son, and she named him Reuben. And then she says, it is because the Lord has seen my misery, so, and surely my husband will love me now. But Reuben sounds like the Hebrew word for he has seen my misery, and the name means see, a son.
Huh.
So then she conceives again, gave birth to another son, and then she says, because the Lord heard that I am not loved, he gave me this one too. So she named him Simeon, and Simeon means one who hears, which she said because the Lord heard that I am not loved.
Wow.
Yeah. Again, she conceived. When she gave birth to a son, she said, now at last my husband will become attached to me, because I have borne him 3 sons. So he was named Levi, which means, it sounds like, and maybe derived from the Hebrew for attached. My husband will become attached to me. She conceived again and had another son.
Damn.
This time, I will praise the Lord, she says. So she named him Judah, which sounds like and may be derived from the Hebrew for praise.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're good there, just to be sure.
Yep.
Yeah? Okay, good. Just double check. We didn't follow Proto.
You didn't follow Proto, buddy. You're done.
Ta-ta there, retard. So Rachel saw that she was not bearing Jacob any children and became jealous of Leah. So she says to Jacob, give me children or I'll die. And Jacob is like, what am I, God? You're talking to the wrong guy here. It's not my fault. Like, clearly I'm capable of getting people pregnant.
My boys can swim.
Yeah, really. Very well. But she says, here is Bilhah, my servant. Sleep with her so that she can bear children for me, and I too can build a family through her.
Call back.
Call back. Yeah, just like, I can't remember the servant's name, but Sarah's servant who bore Ishmael.
Yeah.
Yeah, which we'll get into that, because I don't know if her line of thinking there is accurate. So she gave him Bilhah to sleep with. It says gave her to him as a wife, so I don't know if they become married in order to be allowed to sleep with it. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But either way, they sleep together. She gets pregnant, has a son, and then Rachel says, God has vindicated me. He has listened to my plea and given me a son. Because of this, she named him Dan. Dan means he has vindicated. He has vindicated.
Okay.
And it jumbled there. So Bilhah conceived again and bore Jacob a second son, and Rachel says, I have had a great struggle with my sister, and I have won. So she named him Naphtali, which means
fun name.
My struggle. It is. I like it. Which, again, I don't know if you won, but we'll touch on all that. When Leah saw that she'd stopped having children, she took her servant Zilpah and gave her to Jacob as a wife. And then Leah's servant Zilpah bore Jacob a son. And Leah said, what good fortune. So she named him Gad, which means good fortune or a troop. And she either said, what good fortune or a troop is coming. So like a troop of my boys, basically.
Yeah.
But either way, the servant giving is so fun to me. It's just like Leah has all these kids because Jacob doesn't love her enough. And so Rachel's like, man, fuck this. Fuck my servant.
Yeah.
And Jacob's like, okay, I guess. And then she has a couple of kids. And then Leah's like, man, fuck fuck this. I'm not having kids anymore. Take my servant.
That is bass backwards.
It very much is. And very biblical, though.
Very, very
very
true to
biblical.
the Bible.
Yes. So, after that, Leah's servant Zilpah bore Jacob a second son, and Leah said, "How happy I am! The women will call me happy." So she named him Asher, which
means happy.
It means happy.
Yes.
Yeah. Good call. And, with how out there all of these other names have been and how so not on the nose, I have no idea how you got that one. It's just like Jacob. It's like, let's name him Liar. Oh, okay. I wonder what he's going to do. Okay, so this is where it starts to get really fun. So during the wheat harvest, Reuben, remember one of the sons, he goes out into the fields and found some mandrake plants, which back then, and particularly in the Bible, generally are thought of as having fertility powers. So that's kind of where mandrakes specifically come into play. It's relevant. So he brought those to Leah, and Rachel said to Leah, "Please give me some of those mandrakes." And Leah says, "Wasn't it enough that you took away my husband? Will you take my son's mandrakes too?" Which, how did she take your husband? Like, you and your dad pulled a ruse and took her husband. Like, you, if anything, if either of you did anything wrong here, it's you.
Yep.
Definitely the father.
Yep.
And Jacob before this, but not in this situation.
Right.
But that's on you, buddy. Like, you stole a husband.
Yep.
So, anyway, but Rachel is just like, okay, fine. He can sleep with you tonight in return for the mandrakes. So at this point, Jacob's genitals are being bartered away for flowers. Like, he is literally being traded as a sex object for plants at this point. And then Jacob comes in from the fields. Leah goes out to meet him and says, quote, "You must sleep with me. I have hired you with my son's mandrakes. So, like, you must do the sex with me.
Yeah.
I bought it with flowers that my son found."
Yeah. Okay.
So he did. He slept with her that night. God listened to Leah, and she became pregnant and bore Jacob a fifth son. Then Leah said, "God has rewarded me for giving my servant to my husband." So she named him Issachar, which sounds like the Hebrew for reward.
God has rewarded me for giving my servant to my husband. Okay.
Yeah, let's try and think about that one a little bit, because I have no idea how on earth that she could get. Anyway, we're almost at the end of this one. So Leah conceived again and bore him a sixth son.
Jeez.
And said, "God has presented me with a precious gift. This time my husband will treat me with honor because I have borne him 6 sons." So she named him Zebulun, which probably means honor. I don't know why 6 makes her think that I don't know why they mention, like, I have given him 6 sons, like, as opposed to just because I have given him many sons, they mention the specific number, because 6, I think, usually represents imperfection. Like, it's just short of perfection.
Of completion, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's significant here. We'll see what happens with Zebulun down the line. Sometime later, she gave birth to a daughter named Dinah, which has a couple of potential meanings. Let me just... let's see. Dinah. Could mean judged, judgment, vindicated, or justified.
Okay.
So, like, she's been judged in a positive light, or she's been vindicated, whatever it may mean. I don't know.
Okay.
But that's what that name might mean. Then God remembered Rachel, listened to her, and enabled her to conceive again. Well, no, I think this might be her first kid, actually, Rachel's actual. But yeah, got pregnant, gave birth to a son, and then said, "God has taken away my disgrace." So she named him Joseph and said, may the Lord add to me another son. And Joseph means may he add. So, yeah, very on the nose naming.
Yeah.
But, so let me just see here, just to clarify. So rewarded me, that was said by Leah. Yeah. Okay. So, okay, Rachel. Yeah, Joseph is Rachel's only actual son. But that's the end of the story. Rachel is unable to conceive. Leah is receiving. She is very jealous. So Rachel gives her servant to Jacob. Rachel's servant has a couple of babies. And then Leah gets pissed and gives Jacob a couple of her servants because, she has stopped having children. And then that servant has a couple of more babies. And then at the very end, Leah has a couple of more babies. And then Rachel finally has a baby. Lots of trading around of Jacob.
Yeah, that's a strange story.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's a roller coaster.
Yeah, the thing that's sticking with me is God has rewarded me for giving my servant to my husband.
Yeah, which is strange. It's like, how is you becoming pregnant after that all happened a reward for that specifically?
Yeah.
Like, let me just run through this again. After Rachel and Leah's servants had him a couple of kids, that's when the whole wheat harvest thing happens, and then she trades some mandrakes for sex, and then she gets pregnant and says that God's rewarded me for giving my servant to him. That is the most recent thing to happen, I guess, before they had sex again. At least before it mentions that they had sex again, though they've been talking about a lot of inability to conceive without mentioning sex. It's just like she hasn't been able to have a baby, but they're not mentioning like they had sex and she couldn't conceive, and then it happened again this time. The only time they're mentioning sex specifically is like when he's being bartered for mandrakes. It's tough.
Sorry, I'm getting distracted there.
No, you're totally fine. And this story is kind of a hoot.
Yeah, it's a hoot and holler.
Well, while you think about that, I do have a couple of notes on certain things. Yeah. So, as far as whenever Rachel first gives her servant away, it's like, and she says, I can bore a family through her. Or whatever she says, like I can build a family through her. Whenever she gives, what's her name, Bilhah? Bilhah. Whenever she gives Bilhah to Jacob, like history shows that's not how that works, buddy. Whenever Abraham had Ishmael with, I cannot remember her name, and it's bugging me, but whenever he had Ishmael, sometime later, God told Abraham to send Ishmael and his mother away from him and his actual heirs because they're not held to the same standard as like the concubines or whatever you want to call them. Like their children are not held to the same standard as the actual wives' children.
Right.
These servants' babies are not up to scratch. So like, no. It's not how that works if we're maintaining the same process that we have been. So I thought that was interesting just because it's like, no, like your ancestors have figured out that, no, that's not how this works. This has happened before. Oh, yeah. She said, whenever she says that she's like won the, I don't know, the debacle with her sister, because it's like, haha, my servant had babies now. It's like, first of all, they're not yours. Second of all, even if they were, like Leah's actual children still outnumbers your servant's children. I think it was like 3-2 at that point.
Yeah, okay.
Like you're outnumbered even if these were your actual kids, which they're not. So
servant has to. What I'm thinking is like servant has to mean something. Like what would give you pride in your servant? Like could
it almost be somewhat of like a sacrifice thing? Maybe sacrifice isn't the right word, but it's like you're offering up your husband to somebody else. It's almost like you're doing a very gracious thing in a way. It's kind of fucked up, but it's I care about nothing more than my spouse, and here you can sleep with him in order to have a baby, and God maybe rewards that kind of selfless act. But it's not selfless, though, because she's doing it to...
Saying, I win.
Yeah, so that she can win and so that she can further or improve her position within, like, this whole family hierarchy. It's like, I need to have some babies.
Right.
So it's not selfless. It is still giving, but I don't know. That it seems... That doesn't seem to be like on board with Christian values or whatever. Just like, yeah, here, husband, fuck my servant.
Right.
I don't know. That times have changed. Even within the Bible, you get a couple chapters later and rules change. So I don't, but still, it seems weird, and the thought process behind it is even weirder. Like. First of all, just offering up your servant to your husband so that he can have a baby with another person that isn't you. It's like, that's weird on its face in and of itself. And beyond that, it's like you were doing this thinking that, like, well, this is technically going to be my child because she's my servant. It's like your sister's kid is more your kid.
Right.
At least that's your blood.
Right.
I don't know. It's very strange, man.
Yeah.
That's another thing that we're going to have to do, like, a deep dive into, is just, like, I don't know, like, what the hell in this situation, excuse me. And also, why doesn't God ever interfere with the wombs of the servants and concubines?
Huh.
Like, Rachel and Leah are constantly back and forth being made barren. Why? And Sarah and Rebecca.
Yeah.
Like, literally all of them, but never the servants, never the concubines. They're
that's
always
interesting.
having kids. What's the...
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's almost like they're just people factories, whereas the actual wives almost have to earn that right in a similar way that men have to earn greatness.
That could be that could be, that's an interesting thought as well. There's a couple interesting thoughts there.
Just because we kind of, not to cut you off, but really quick, we kind of have in the past come to the kind of conclusion that they were under the assumption that the same way it's a man's duty to go out and find greatness, it's ultimately a woman's responsibility to have and nurture children so that we could further the population.
Yep.
So, but yeah, go on.
Well, it's an interesting thought that the servants are always the ones that can have children. It's like I think a philosophy that I've kind of realized over the past couple of years probably is like we are called to serve, in a way, and to serve others and to serve our communities and to serve our families, and like what embodies being servers more than a servant itself.
Yeah,
that's like
that reminds me of something we talked about last week. So whenever you're done,
yeah, what's that?
Go on, finish.
Yeah, no, that's all I've got.
Oh no, it just we were talking about how it's so much easier for us to put drive into work that involves other people as opposed to just yourself. Maybe that's a part of that. It's just, generally speaking, we've survived because of cooperation. So naturally, it is within our DNA to want to cooperate with people and to serve and to help. So, whenever you're working on something that only concerns you, yeah, of course, you should care about that. But whenever other people come into the mix, it's like you should care about that for yourself and that other person. Because like you said, I do think that we are, to a certain extent, at least if you're wired properly, you are naturally just kind of called to help people to some degree.
Yeah.
The people around you, the people you care about, at least, maybe not the whole world, but you want to be helpful. So I think that might be a big part of, at least for me personally, what makes it so much easier to just dedicate my time and energy to things that other people also rely on, because it's fulfilling to me to help those people and like they need the help.
Yeah.
So just that. Yeah, the call to serve, generally speaking, I think plays into that a lot.
Yeah. I think that's pretty decent conclusion, or some, maybe not even conclusion, but
a takeaway.
Good takeaway of that is, and the fact that, a woman's call to adventure is ultimately, nurturing and having a child. That's their call to adventure. Our call to adventure is different.
It's ultimately being able to support that.
Yeah, right.
It's like our supposed calls to adventure kind of rely on each other in a way.
Totally. 100%.
100%. Both of them work better with the other one involved.
Well, and it's like both of them are nothing without the other, really. It's like, we could, if we aren't furthering, the population in the grand scheme of things, if your call to adventure is not furthering the population, then what is it for? It's for, nothing ultimately.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the most basal level, I guess that to a certain extent should be a goal for everybody. Just keep humanity alive.
Right.
The simplest way to do that is to have a child if you're prepared to do so.
Yep.
I would absolutely agree. Regardless of what your ultimate end game call to adventure ends up being, it wouldn't matter if nobody was here. So part of that is creating families, I think. Yeah. And like you said, one without the other is almost nothing. What am I working towards if not take repopulation, or not repopulation, but just continued population out of the equation? I need some source of motivation that I'm working for. Like I said, it's easier for me to put energy into things that are for people that I care about, or work that I care about that involves other people. So it's like if I have a family to provide for, that's a massive source of motivation. We talked about this recently, like coming out of a relationship, it's difficult to find a new source of motivation, because it's like you're working towards something that a future with somebody that isn't going to happen anymore. So it's like, well, shit, what now? I don't really care about myself that much. Shit. But likewise, if you're just a mother with no ambitious man in the picture to help you take care of that kid, you're going to struggle, just like a man that didn't have a woman to help him take care of the kid would struggle.
Yep.
I mean, I would just say that single parents, regardless of whether it's the mother or the father, are going to have a tough time.
Fuck yeah.
Kids are a handful.
Fucking A, man. Doing that alone just is crazy.
Yeah, no, and they need that balance of just the masculine role model and the feminine role model, so that you can have that balance. Nobody should be too heavily in either direction, I don't think. Jordan Peterson talks about a lot of the most respectable men have almost a feminine type grace to them as a result of their confidence. Like they're just very fluid and they're in touch with that side of themselves.
I don't think I've heard that before. That's a good segue if you want to reset these.
Segue?
Yeah.
Where are we segueing?
Yeah, it's it's on the topic of the most what is it exactly? What type of men? The most balanced men,
I can't remember exactly how he described the men, but what the adjective was. Okay. But just
it's important.
Just that it's important to integrate certain aspects of your feminine side. It's it's important to find balance in anything.
I thought I for a while, up until within the past few days, honestly, I thought that I had that integrated pretty well, but I've been thinking a lot about growing up and how I was raised, and actually what prompted this, or one of the pieces of the puzzle that prompted this, was I was watching Sean Strickland's interview with Theo Von.
Oh, the one where he talked about his childhood.
Yeah, it's a couple days old, but he breaks down and just starts crying out of nowhere, or not out of nowhere, but unexpectedly.
After he's,
And so like I that was all going through my head, and I was thinking about kind of how I was raised, and this is something that I don't know if I've told anybody this, but like I think I have a lot of trauma from the way that I was raised by my dad, because I was like, if I really think about it, like I was fucking petrified of him.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was fucking terrified of him. And I was always just kind of pushed it to the back, and never really told anyone this because I felt like I'd be betraying him if I talked about it. But like I'd feel like a fucking pussy if I just even acknowledged it.
Just like this feeling as a result of that upbringing, you mean?
Yeah.
Acknowledging that, yeah.
Yeah, and it's very much so like the way that I was raised by him was, if someone had it tougher, then what the fuck do I have to worry about? And never really allowed me to, not him, but that thought process, never really allowed me to, confront how it affected me.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I haven't been able to cry for a really long time, and I woke up at like 3:00 last night, and I started tearing up, but I couldn't cry. And even then, I was just in that moment, I was thinking, like, I think I'm fucking overreacting, and this is bullshit, and I have no fucking reason to be upset about this. And so I've been working pretty hard over these past couple of days to like accept how I was raised. I love him, and I think I hit the lottery when it comes to parents. Like I think he did an excellent job. But I've just fucking lived so afraid of everything, and part of that is because of how I was raised by him and just being so afraid of him. I've been needing to get that out. I don't know how to articulate it completely, but
sure, yeah. Well, how do you feel like that has affected you? Like you said you've been thinking about this for the past couple of days. Like, what are some of the negative takeaways that you got up from those feelings of fear?
Yeah, it's
do you think that contributes to some of your, like you've mentioned before, that you kind of have a constant need to look over your shoulder type feeling? Do you think that may be a part of that, or like?
Definitely. I definitely think that's to it, because like if he exploded one night, like it like this, just little things could fucking prompt like a fucking explosion in the house, and so like they put me on edge of like when should I be fucking ready, always being ready for that. Yeah. And so constantly on edge as far as like when that could happen.
Yeah.
I would never fucking label him as being abusive or anything. It was just, this is how he was, and how he was raised, and how he was dealing with things in his life on his own, but and I don't blame him for that. But I like finally need to fucking acknowledge that this had an impact on my life.
Yeah, right. So you can start to actually work on whatever it may have caused. Yeah.
And cowering to authority. I think I've talked with you about this before, of like any relatively close authority figure, like even just an adult, like whatever they say, like, yeah, I'll fucking do it, and I'll jump on it, and I'll do it right away, because that's how it was in my house. It's like, you know, you don't get asked twice to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And I can relate to certain elements of that. You know, my dad could be a similar way. You know, he had a very short fuse. Same thing. Definitely never abusive. He wasn't ever like tormenting me.
Yep.
Absolutely never put his hands on anybody.
Yep.
But
Same. Yeah.
He could get real fucking mad. And when you're a very small child,
Yep.
and an angry grown man 10 feet away from you,
Yep.
that's a pretty scary fucking thing.
Yep.
And my teacher from grade 1 to 4, I mean, Jesus Christ, I have more issues as a result of her than my dad.
Yeah.
I really, really do. My dad, I mean, I don't know if I really have any long-lasting issues as a result of the way he was at home, just because, like, in contrast, Miss Chowdhury was just such a fucking terror.
Sounds like a mean teacher from a TV show.
The name,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, Miss
could be
Chowdhury. Like, that's the bad teacher in recess. But yeah, she would just pick a couple of kids every year that she just did not like, and she would yell, and I mean yell, in your fucking face. A grown woman yelling it. Like, I left the school when I was 10, so I was being screamed at full force by a grown woman from age 6 to 10. And I wasn't the only one. You know, it's not, woe is me, I suffered this by myself. No. There were a few others.
Yeah.
Wasn't everybody, but my first year in elementary school, she taught grades 1 through 6. We were all together. I was immediately chosen. And I have an authority complex to this day because of it. Yeah, I do not enjoy people telling me what to do. I don't like being under harsh constraints. I think I've talked about this on the show before.
Yeah.
So I can definitely relate to that. You know, people start yelling at me, it instantly sends me into like a fight or flight reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Not even fight or flight. It makes me want to fight them. I immediately it's like short circuits something in my brain that makes me want to attack.
But see, that was like that. I think like my shadow or whatever you want to call it, that was scared out of me. Like, I don't get mad at things, and now there's maybe a little bit more balance, but I don't get mad at a lot of things, not because like I've have the wisdom to not be upset by them, but just like because I'm just either too afraid, or it's just been ingrained in me to like I'm not strong enough to be mad.
I don't know if not being able to really get mad very often would be a negative trait.
There are times when I want to be mad, but I don't get mad.
You have an example?
Just
trying to think. As somebody with an anger issue, I wish that I could not get mad.
Like, I think even in traffic, like, I don't yell, or I don't get, like, most times I don't get upset, but if something did upset me, like, I wouldn't have the proper anger inside of me to get mad at that person that like was driving recklessly, or let's say it's not the best example, but when it relates to people, like if someone's being a dick or something, and they're bigger or stronger than me or something, like, okay, so for instance, I was walking out of a bar by myself, and these two guys walked past me, and one of the guys, you know, sticks his hand out, and then he pulls it back and he goes, "Nah, go fuck yourself, faggot." Like, I want to be I want to be fucking mad. I want to fucking cave his fucking skull in, like, hurt him very, very badly. But I don't have that, like that properly integrated shadow, I don't think.
Well, the fact that you want to cave his skull in means that you are mad.
Yeah,
like,
but I can't express
mad.
it though. But I can't, because
okay, so you struggle to express anger. You feel anger.
Yeah, I struggle to express anger.
Okay. Well, if you're feeling that anger, then I definitely wouldn't say that shadow is gone.
It's not gone, but it's not where I want it to be.
Well, I mean, I've been working at that for 8 fucking years.
Yeah,
you know. And
well, I'm just saying this is a part. This is as a result of just like it was scared out of me.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah.
No, I understand what you're saying. I just mean, like, as far as Like, that doesn't mean it's never going to be integrated. Like, that's absolutely doesn't mean that you can't integrate it. And I mean, it sounds like you've already addressed that. And like you said, you're starting to think about and work on these things. But, you know, like I said, that's a long and uphill battle depending on whatever end of the extreme you're at, whether it's like your shadow is just very, very non-apparent or your shadow is maybe a little bit too apparent. Like, I have an anger issue. I had to work on calming that down. You maybe have to work on being able to bring that out when it's appropriate. Just a different end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
I wonder which one would be objectively more difficult, making yourself an angrier person or making yourself a less angry person.
Yeah, it might be equally tough.
Yeah, because it's just either way you're going against your natural inclination.
Yeah. One is probably you'd have to get over like in my situation, the fear aspect, and the other you have to find peace in a sense.
In what way?
Like you have
fear,
to be,
I understand.
Yeah, you have to find in order to get over like being angry at even certain things like getting cut off in traffic and like where it's not appropriate to necessarily even be angry at that. You have to find like a peace in a sense of
as far as
okay.
not taking the anger too far, knowing where that cutoff is. Yeah, absolutely. It's about finding that healthy balance between anger and lack thereof. Yeah. Which, it's tough. It really is tough, because there are absolutely situations where it's perfectly appropriate to get angry, but whether in your situation, as somebody that just doesn't really naturally react in a fiery way when you get angry, it's like, well, fuck, when is it appropriate? For me, whose natural inclination is to just kind of fly off the handle, it's like, well, when is it? It's never really okay to fly off the handle unless you've been like attacked.
Right.
But as far as like, when is it appropriate for me to actually feel the anger that I know I very often feel inappropriately? Like, how often is it actually appropriate? I don't fucking know. It goes both ways for you and me. Both ends of the spectrum.
Right.
We really are kind of at the opposite end of the spectrum there.
Yeah.
Like, completely polar opposite end.
Yeah.
It's like your baseline is positive and it's difficult for you to get angry. My baseline is negative and I am very quick to anger.
I guess that's why we make such a good match. I don't know.
Opposites attract. We are yin and yang.
Yeah.
We are the gray Jedi. I am Sith. You are light. No, but I'm sorry to hear that you're struggling with that, but really happy to hear that you're going at it productively as opposed to just kind of wilting and thinking like, oh no, I've been so fucked up by my past. What am I going to do? But actually processing it and working on it, because that's all you can do.
Yeah, definitely. And this just hit me at the same time when like work's picking up like crazy, and I'm just getting
fucking
stressed.
Crazy how that happens.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like as soon as I took on the Newman work for you, it's like mom has cancer, Tex dies.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
Like, could it have happened literally any other time than when I upped my workload to like 60 hours a week, please?
Yeah.
For fuck's sake.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's craziness.
It rains, it fucking pours.
Yep.
And the funniest fucking thing was that all of that shit happened literally right after we did the flood episode.
Yeah.
And we talked so much about just like being able to brace yourself for catastrophe when it hits. And then boy, did catastrophe fucking hit.
Catastrophe fucking hit you.
Now
like a rock.
Bit of psychological turmoil is starting to hit you pretty hard too.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm no stranger to mental health issues. I know that can be a fucking flood in and of itself, even if there's no external factor at the moment. I mean, dealing with any kind of, I don't know if you would describe how you're feeling as depression or what you would describe it as, but just for me as somebody that's dealt with like depression, suicidal thoughts, and like horrible anxiety, like day-to-day anxiety where you're just kind of on edge about stuff. I've learned to manage that pretty well. But like when I'm having when I'm in full-blown panic attack mode, which has happened like 2 or 3 times, it's fucking hell. So like I empathize with you, going through it.
Yeah. I'm glad for that. Or I appreciate it. I had the urge to like, even just there, say like, yeah, what I'm going through is nowhere near what you've had to go through, which is, to a certain extent true, but I don't know how much that serves me.
Exactly. And that's kind of what you said something earlier to the effect of like, I don't have it as bad as plenty of other people have it. So what the hell do I have to be upset about? It's like you said, that doesn't help you. It reminds me of this go on.
I think, I just started to cut you off, but
no, go on.
I think there's a balance there of like, because it's in a sense, it allows me to not be envious. It allows me to not it allows me to be grateful still. Like I can still recognize how much it fucked me up, but I can still, in that process of having perspective on like what other people go through, I can still be grateful for not going through what they're going through necessarily. I think there's a balance there. Like there's a fine line to walk.
Sure, yeah, where it's like you can compare and contrast to other people's situations, but it doesn't just have to be, well, I have it better than people, so I have no right to be upset. Right. It also shouldn't be, I have it worse than other people, so I have the right to be a miserable wreck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just comparing your situation to other people's situations, I'd say the utility basically stops there. Or unless or if you're, say, comparing your situation to somebody in a similar situation who is handling it well or poorly, and you can say, maybe I should do this or maybe I shouldn't do this based on what I'm observing here. Maybe this would work, maybe this would not work.
Right, definitely.
But saying I have it better than X amount of people, so I have no right to be upset, it ultimately doesn't matter. You are upset by the situation. Yep. The other people's situations has no bearing on you. It's like Red versus Blue is a goofy ass show, but it has a really good line in it at one point where Church says, I learned something really important today. No matter how bad things may seem, Caboose cuts him off and he says they could be worse. And Church goes, nope. No matter how bad they may seem, they can't be any better. They can't be any worse because that's just the way things fucking are. So you better get used to it, Nancy. That's right. Quit your bitching.
Yeah.
Now, the quit your bitching part doesn't really apply here, but it's they can't be any better for you. They can't be any worse for you. They are the way that they are. Yep. And other people's, there's no use in thinking, well, I could have it worse. You couldn't. You don't.
Right.
You have it the way that you have it, and you're feeling the way that you're feeling, and you need to figure out a way to deal with that. And that is not telling yourself being upset is irrational. That's just making you feel worse. Because now not only are you upset about the things that you're upset about, but you're upset about your reaction to it because of your own negative self-talk.
I think it's cyclical.
Cyclical, yeah. It's just a negative downward spiral where you feel bad because of X situation, and then you make yourself feel worse because you say, I shouldn't feel bad about this situation, but you still do. So you feel worse than you did before because you haven't worked on it. And then you tell yourself, wow, I'm really a pussy, huh? Because I feel even worse than before.
Exactly.
It's not getting you anywhere. You're just tearing yourself down and digging yourself into a deeper and deeper pit.
Yep. 100%.
Which I've been there. So again, I can relate. I get it.
Yeah.
So it's like figuring out a way to work around that is damn near as difficult as figuring out a way to work out your anger issues or whatever other temperamental issues you might have.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, that's again, man, I'm here for you while you're going through that, because I can relate to a lot of it, and even whatever I can't relate to, I'm just happy to lend an ear.
I appreciate that quite a bit, seriously.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've fucking been here for me during all my bullshit. Jesus Christ. Hell of a 6 months, man.
There's no fucking doubt about it. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I've my mood's been up and down like a kangaroo with his balls roasting over a spit. It's like one day I'm cool, I'm chilling.
Yeah.
I hop into, I don't know, whatever, some work, or if I want to just kind of chill out with a game, it's like I'll hop into something that's going to like hold my focus for a while. I'll like build a city,
Yeah.
whatever, something like that. And then other days it's just like I wake up, I sit down, and I am just like, I don't want to do anything, and that's those depression days whenever there's just no motivation. It's not even a motivation thing. It's just like it sounds enjoyable. Literally nothing. And I don't want to do anything that feels productive. Doing productive things doesn't make me feel better. Those are like the down days. It's just like relaxing stuff doesn't sound enjoyable, and productive stuff doesn't sound fulfilling. And it isn't. Like I'll try to force myself to do something. Let's work on music or play a game. No, this sucks after 30 minutes. Let's work on a video. I'm not into it. I don't know if you go through similar. Well, we kind of talked about days where your creative energy ebbs and flows.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Good days lately seems. Vacation kind of got a little bit whack at the end. Didn't know what to do with myself. Ended up working my last day of vacation. It was like, that's like all I did my last day of vacation. And maybe I hopped into a game for a minute, but the like second half of that week off, I couldn't. It's like I think I've like done all the gaming I wanted to do.
Yeah,
I guess.
Right.
It's like a couple hours of Hell Let Loose, couple hours fucking what else? Red Dead. I think I finished Red Dead again while I was on vacation.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, that
start
was
to finish or
not start to finish. No, I started this playthrough
Gotcha.
months ago.
because there's like what 6 like
Oh, there's 6 chapters and an epilogue, which
Yeah.
is basically the length of another chapter. And no, it's a long game. Even if you somehow managed to not get sidetracked by all of the random, excuse me, Jesus, fizzy drinks do it to me. Even if you somehow avoid all of the random encounters, like with just random people about the world and shit like that, and you somehow speed run just the main story, it's still several hours of gameplay. Especially because like there's no fast travel system. If you want to beat Skyrim's main quest line in like 2-3 hours without glitching, like you can speed run it with glitches in like an hour, maybe less. But without glitches, you could like run through that thing using fast travel and other shit like that in maybe 2-3 hours. Red Dead, you're riding a horse everywhere. There are fast travel points like from city to city, but like if a mission takes you out into the middle of the wilderness, you now have to ride back to a city if you want to fast travel to another one. Or set up camp, I guess. That's an option. But it's so much wandering around between missions that it eats time. It's beautiful, so it's fun while you're doing it. I love that game for the scenery. Like, that's arguably the biggest draw for me after the story. The first time I played through the game, it was the story. I had to keep playing. Right. But now, anytime I hop in, it's like I end up just kind of wandering around and like looking at the trees and taking screenshots or like going up into the mountains and playing in the snow. It's such a pretty game, and it holds up remarkably well all these years later.
other than the online, of course.
I meant the appearance. Yeah. The online version of Red Dead. I've got some choice words for Rockstar regarding that matter. Boy, y'all shit the bed with that one. Ooh, I want to go on a tangent. Do you mind if I go on a little tangent about Rockstar games here? Or are you getting tired? How are we feeling?
Yeah, let me text Jake real quick and
You going out?
I'm going to work out.
Rockstar.
Okay, yeah, hit this real quick.
Let's
let's.
My
camera died, but I didn't talk at all during that, so we're
Oh shit! Hold on. Yeah. Okay.
all right. Go on this tangent, and then we'll close it out.
Now, Rockstar Games has categorically shit the bed at every given opportunity over the last 2-3 years, I would say. I'm not entirely sure. I can't remember exactly when they started really, really jamming their fists up the ass of everybody that was enjoying Red Dead Online, but I think that was about 3 years ago. So they started by nerfing daily challenges. Every day, there's a list of challenges that you can do for a small amount of gold. Now, every day you do one of these challenges, you start building up a streak. Whenever Red Dead Online first came out, these streaks never reset.
Yep.
If you came on every day for 2 years and did one challenge, you would maintain your streak for 2 years. And that's important because once you get to the final tier, week number 4 of the, 4-week cycle, basically, you're getting a big multiplier on the amount of gold that you're getting per challenge. So if you maintained a streak for 3 weeks and then just kept it going indefinitely, you're just permanently getting tons of gold for all of your challenges. They nerfed that. Now, they put a reset on your streaks every 1 month. Now, I had a several months long streak running, as did many people. I played that game literally every day, even if it was only for 20 minutes, so I could really quickly do a challenge and keep my streak going every day for months. So many people had streaks running from day one of launch. The reset pissed literally all of us off. It's like this is when I first started to realize, Rockstar is only in this for the gold sales and the shark card sales, which we'll fucking get into. Rockstar,
because they were rewarding you for playing the game.
They
initially.
were,
and then now they're punishing you essentially for playing the game.
Exactly. They were initially rewarding you for playing the game more often. Now it's almost like they're waving their middle finger in your face and saying, "Oh, you like playing this game a lot for this reason? Well, what if we just took away that one reason that you have and made you more incentivized to purchase in-game currency?" So I believe they also lowered the multipliers, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm pretty sure that per increase in percent, like per increase in the amount of gold that you're getting from these challenges, I'm pretty sure they lowered that too. Like instead of going from, half a gold bar per challenge to a full gold bar, it like went up to 0.75 instead now, that type of thing. So that was step number 1 of giving us the finger from Rockstar in ruining Red Dead. Then they basically just gave up on the game so that they could allegedly allocate more resources towards GTA, their primary cash cow, which stupid decision. First of all, because dumbasses, it's 2 different sections of Rockstar working on these games. You could have 2 cash cows if you would just allow both teams to properly work on both titles instead of not trying it all with one of them. And they say it's not bringing in enough revenue because people aren't interested in it. It's just not a great game. It's because you're not putting any fucking effort into any of the additional content that you're adding to the game. The most popular trending hashtag for that game for the longest time was homeless millionaire, because you never even gave us the ability to purchase property. Like,
which is craziness for a game so centered around land.
And the only purpose of these games is grinding money.
Yep.
That is the primary focus of these games. There's no story. There's no story. There's like 8 story missions in Red Dead Online. Like 8. And I think that might be a highball guess. I don't even remember, because you have to get other people in your party to fucking play them. So unless you are currently playing with somebody who is in the mood to play those missions, which myself included, nobody ever fucking is, like, you're going to have to rely on randoms to even play that story mission, which I tried. It sucks. They're stupid. So there's no story. The purpose of the game is to earn money, and you gave us nothing to spend the money on. After like 2 DLCs, Bounty Hunter and what was the other one? Collector, that was pretty good. All of them sucked.
Yeah.
Nobody gave a shit about Naturalist. I don't give a fuck about that. Nobody gave a fuck about Blood Money because Capitale is fucking retarded. It's stupid. I hate that I have to earn this secondary currency to play these bullshit half-assed missions that aren't even that fun and don't pay out that well and are only like after the first playthrough it's like, yeah, I get it. Like I don't want to replay those missions at all. So they killed Red Dead in an attempt to, I guess, make GTA more successful and allocate more resources towards GTA, which they then proceeded to spend the next 2 years tanking, and they're still fucking doing it. So, which started with nerfing the Cayo Perico heist. Boy, I can't wait to get into this one. So for years, like 5-6 years, there was no feasible way for solo players in GTA Online.
Wait. Okay. We might need to hold off on the Cayo Perico.
I can get through it quickly.
Okay.
I can get through it quickly. I know you don't have that much time.
Yeah, we got a few minutes.
Yeah, a few minutes. So Cayo Perico added to the game after several years of it being out. First way for solo players to make a good amount of money. As a solo player, I'm stoked on that because I didn't have friends that played GTA, and just like in Red Dead, playing with randoms is a hopeless endeavor.
Right.
You're not going to do a heist with randoms. It's not going to get completed. They're going to give you a shit cut if you do.
Right.
Fuck that.
Right.
So finally add in a solo heist. People are very happy with it. They start nerfing the fucking thing. First nerf, not too egregious, but dumb. They put a cooldown on it, which whenever you finish the heist, you have to wait 1 in-game day, 48 minutes to reset the heist originally. Now you have to wait 3 in-game days, which is about 2 hours and 20 minutes. Makes it harder to hit that timer, right? Why that's important is because to start most heists on hard mode, you just have to select hard mode, which gives you more money. To start Cayo on hard mode, you have to get it within 1 in-game day of it becoming available to you again. If that cooldown ends in less than an hour, you're probably still playing the game. You're probably still fucking around, maybe doing some other business shit. 3 hours later? Probably not. Probably going to have to set a timer on your phone to hop back in and start it in time.
Right.
And they put a cooldown on the valuable main targets. So now if you get a high-value main target, there's a quote-unquote 72-hour, real-life 72-hour cooldown before you get those again. It's actually much longer than that. It's fucked. I remember I've gotten the lowest value target like 10 playthroughs in a row over the course of like 2 weeks. It's not 72 hours. It's like 2 months. Yeah. It's fucked. And when they did that, they added so many glitches into the game. It's fucking absurd. When you're leaving the heist underwater, your rebreather might just despawn off your face and you drown.
I'm familiar with that one.
Cameras can see through walls, so you might be spotted even though there's no reason for you to have been. The fucking forklift in the hangar that's used to see some of the secondary targets might just randomly flip you into the sky and kill you. It's fucked. And then they nerfed it again and made everything worth less money. It's that you're intentionally de-incentivizing us to play the game, and I fucking hate you, Rockstar. Make better shit if you want us to play other parts of your game. Make better DLC if you want us to play something other than Cayo Perico. I think that's a good place to sign off.
Biblecast.